The day Nolan's net worth hit 7 figures, he told no one. He sat in his car in the company parking lot, engine off, staring at his brokerage app. His company had just gone public. The stock options he had almost forgotten about were now worth $1.2 million. His hands were not shaking from excitement. They were shaking from something closer to dread.
This wasn't new.
Because Nolan had watched this exact story before. A coworker named Jared had cashed out his shares 2 years earlier. New car. New condo. Instagram every weekend. 18 months later, Jared was updating his LinkedIn and borrowing money from his parents. Nolan closed the app, drove home, ate leftover pasta, said nothing. What he did over the next 12 months is the reason he still has that money today. And it starts with a principle most people break within the first 48 hours of a financial windfall. Here is what almost nobody tells you about sudden wealth. It does not arrive like a reward. It arrives like a seed. Fragile, exposed, easily crushed. Research from the National Endowment for Financial Education suggests that roughly 70% of people who receive a financial windfall lose it within a few years, not decades. Years. And these are not reckless people. They just did not know that sudden wealth requires a completely different set of rules. I call this the greenhouse principle. A greenhouse protects a seedling from wind and too much sun, not by being dramatic, but by being structured, quiet, intentional. 5 glass walls, 1 canopy, and a root system that knows where to stop. But the first wall might surprise you because it has nothing to do with investing or budgeting. The first wall is stillness. Silence, not saying a word. When something wonderful happens, every instinct says share it. Call your mom. Post something glowing on social media. But according to the Certified Financial Planner Board, the #1 predictor of whether someone keeps a windfall is not their investment strategy. It is how many people they told in the first month. The biggest threat to your money is not the stock market. It is your group chat. Behavioral economists call it relative deprivation. When someone close to you gains something you do not have, it quietly shifts how they feel about you. Not because anyone is a bad person, because that is how human psychology works. Nolan understood this because he had seen it firsthand. His uncle in Ohio sold farmland for $900,000 and told the whole family at Christmas. By February, 2 cousins had business proposals. By July, his uncle had co-signed a loan he could not afford.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
By the next Christmas, nobody was talking to each other, so Nolan said nothing. Same jacket. Same 10-year-old Civic. He started building his greenhouse in silence. That is stealth, wealth, not flashy minimalism for Instagram. Just quiet. If you have watched money change someone you love, or felt the pressure to perform generosity you could not afford, you are not alone, and you are not broken. You are just paying attention. Now, I need to pause here, because this next part sounds counterintuitive, and it might be the most important section of this entire video. The second wall is structure. When money arrives, the instinct is to do something with it. But Nolan did not touch a dollar for 90 days. He called a fee-only fiduciary financial planner, a professional whose legal obligation was to act in his interest. That planner introduced him to an estate attorney,
and here is your copy of the
and
signed
together
agreement.
they built a legal structure around the money Consulting a licensed
So this
professional
top
is the
box
right move for
represents
specifics,
the primary trust.
but the principle
The
is simple.
assets flow down these
Wealthy
branches,
families rarely hold
completely
assets in their
bypassing
personal name.
probate.
They use trusts, entities, and legal frameworks that create a buffer between identity and finances. It is not secrecy. It is soil structure, organized in layers, so the seedling does not wash away in the first storm. The third wall is pruning. Pay off high-interest debt first. Before investing. Before anything. The Federal Reserve Survey of Consumer Finances shows the median American household carries over $7,000 in credit card debt, often above 20% interest. Compound interest is powerful when it works for you. When it works against you, it is a slow fire, burning through the floor of your greenhouse. Nolan had $14,000 in credit card debt from his 20s. He paid it off the first week. And the strangest thing happened. A low hum of anxiety he did not even know he carried just stopped. That is what pruning does. It clears the noise so you can finally think. Most people think the first thing you do with sudden wealth is quit your job. The research says the opposite. The fourth wall is steady light. A study in the Journal of Financial Planning found that Windfall recipients who kept a work routine were significantly more likely to retain their wealth after 5 years. This is not about grinding. It is about rhythm. Nolan kept the daily rhythm that held his identity in place. 6 months later, he left on his terms and started a consultancy. Not because he needed the income, because he needed the rhythm. Remember Nolan in that parking lot,
Nolan,
hands
what
shaking.
did you do
This
this
next
time?
part is the conversation he did not want to
I didn't mean
have
for it to happen.
with his brother, and it nearly cost them their relationship. The fifth wall is root boundary. Let me tell you about Sharon. She is 52, lives outside Philadelphia. Her mother needs nursing care at $8,000 a month, and her daughter just started college.
We
Last
have to
year,
get the boat.
Sharon's
This
aunt
model is
left her
perfect.
But
$400,000.
look at
Her
this
husband wanted a
tasting
boat.
menu. We deserve
Her brother-in-law
this.
pitched a restaurant. Everyone had a plan for Sharon's money. Everyone except Sharon. Sharon is the sandwich generation, caught between aging parents and growing children. For people in that position, a financial windfall does not bring freedom. It brings expectation. Nolan learned this with his brother, who was not a bad person, just stuck, underwater on a car loan, stressed about daycare. Suddenly aware Nolan had money he did not. He started hinting,
See
must
how
be
the
nice.
needle always points
Set for
true
life.
north,
Huh? So Nolan
regardless
sat
of
him
where
down.
you are.
I want to help you with one thing. One time.
There.
I gift.
Everything
not
should
alone.
be covered now.
After
I
that,
don't know what to say.
we go back to being brothers.
Thank
His
you.
brother asked for 3 months of daycare. Nolan wrote the check. They never discussed money again. According to Ramsey Solutions, money is the #1 cause of stress in American households. A financial windfall does not solve that. It amplifies it. Unless you set the boundary early. So if you cannot spend it freely, and you cannot give it away, what exactly is the money for? This is the canopy. Here is the rule. Never consume the trunk. Only eat the fruit. Your principal is the tree. The returns it generates are the fruit. You live on the fruit. You protect the trunk. Always calculate your comfortable annual living cost, then multiply by 25. That is your freedom number. For Nolan, he needed $85,000 a year. Multiply by 25, roughly $2.1 million. He was not there yet, but he could see the path. And seeing the path changed everything. Every financial decision now had a filter. Does this move me closer to the canopy, or does it chip away at the trunk? Morgan Housel wrote in The Psychology of Money that the highest form of wealth is the ability to wake up and say, I can do whatever I want today. Not because you own expensive things, but because nothing owns you. That is what the greenhouse principle builds toward. Not luxury. Not status. A quiet freedom nobody else needs to see. Once the greenhouse stands, you diversify what grows inside. Different seeds for different seasons. The specifics are a conversation for you and a professional you trust. But the principle is ancient. Do not put every seed in one pot. So here is where I will leave you. Tonight, write down one number. The annual amount you need to live comfortably. Then multiply by 25. That is your canopy number. You do not have to reach it tomorrow. You just have to know it exists. Because a seed you can see is a seed you can grow. If you know someone going through a financial change right now, maybe send them this video. Not as advice, just as a quiet reminder that there is a different way to think about sudden wealth. Sometimes a single shift in perspective is all someone needs. Next time, I am going to walk you through the quiet daily habits that separate people who build lasting wealth from people who just earn a high income. It is not about discipline. It is about identity. And it is simpler than you think.